In this third discussion video for week 1, I want to bring out Nick's question about, is the procedure of isolation enough provided it has been verified? In the scenario he gives, he says we have a piece of equipment. Let's say it's a conveyor belt. And this conveyor belt has not only a lockout available in the main motor control center, the MCC, but also right there at the machine where I can lock out either place. Does it require me to lock out for any reason at the MCC, provided I can verify the lockout at the local lockout? This question is a very good one, and it comes down to a misconception many people have that if OSHA says I have to do something, then that's the only option I have. I want to point out that once again, OSHA is a minimum requirement. It is a D grade. You don't want a D, you want an A. So it's always best to have a process that is better than OSHA. In this process he gives us, not only does he use lockout tagout, which is above OSHA's minimum, so therefore greater than the minimum requirement, but also he goes on and identifies the verification step utilized with verifying at the HOA switch or the hand-off auto switch. Now an HOA switch verification could be enough, provided that the only electrical presence inside of that box is running through that said HOA switch. Here's where that becomes an issue. By indicating that we may have a bucket in the MCC and power at an HOA, we are likely looking at two power sources in this scenario. Depending upon the written procedure and what power is actually in that panel being open, this may not be enough, especially if that bucket is still powered inside of that same box. So a simple example of this might be a contactor inside of the box is receiving power from the bucket. That HOA switches the A1 of the contactor and sucks in the contactor to close the motor circuit, allowing the motor to spin. In this scenario, if all we have done is verify isolation at the HOA, yes, we have verified that there is no power through the control side of the system. We have not verified there is no power through the motor. So we need to look at our company policy and ensure that its steps include isolation verification for everything inside that panel. If the only thing inside that panel is control system, and that HOA is part of that, and we can verify that whole control system is off for that HOA, then that is a safe panel to access. But if that panel contains more than just a control system, or if that HOA is not exactly the same power source, say it's a 24-volt power source instead of a 120-volt power source, then in that scenario, this may not be enough. I thank you for the question. If you have any further questions regarding this scenario, or if you'd like to talk about more details of this scenario, this is one where we could really get deep into the book and the weeds. But on its surface, I think it's just best to point out that the lockout, tagout verification procedure provided here is much greater than OSHA's requirement, and therefore you are not likely to run into an OSHA conflict just from your process. But rather, the conflict, if it exists, resides in, are we testing and verifying the correct things? Look forward to seeing your questions and any responses you have to this video. Have a great day.